Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to Spotlight. I'm Ed Juenka, and we have a very informative program for you again this evening. As you know, many of us can recognize words. We read things, and we recognize the words, but we don't necessarily know what the meanings are. And so, anytime we find ourselves picking something up to read, it's usually something electronic these days. Very rarely are we picking up a book, a hard copy, what we call a hard copy, a book. And so we need to increase our literary skills. And the BVI Reading Council, in partnership with CCT Global Communication, is bridging that literacy gap with technology, bridging the reading gap with technology. So we're going to talk about how that gap is being bridged this evening. We have the CCT Public Relations, Marketing and Public Relations Manager here with us, Jan Bryn, and we're going to have an interesting discussion about bridging the literacy gap between literacy and technology. Our other segment includes the Dr. Joan Samuels, who is the Chief Medical Officer at People's Hospital, along with Ivy George, who is the Coordinator for Health Promotion Services in the Ministry of Health and Social Development. And we'll be talking about how we're going to prevent non-communicable chronic diseases. 53% of our deaths in our country is from non-communicable chronic diseases. We need to reduce the incidences of chronic diseases. We need to prevent ourselves from getting those diseases because it's costing us a lot of money. And when you have a statistic where 47% of our people are suffering from chronic disease, it certainly is not a good sign. It's not a sustainable situation for us to be in. We're going to talk about how to rid ourselves of those chronic diseases and how to create a healthier lifestyle. First, before we get to those important discussions, we're going to talk to Sean Rose about the stories making news this week. Sean, what are we talking about?
Greetings, Edrenka. Greetings, viewers. The chairman of the Virgin Islands Party, the VIP, Honorable Julian Fraser, had to fight a solitary battle when the House of Assembly met on September 11 for the 9th sitting. In fact, during that sitting, the Auditor General's report on the Seacoast Bay Harbour Development Project was tabled. Now, when the 3rd District Representative, Honorable Fraser, moved a motion for debate on the report, there were no other opposition members on the bench to support him, to second the motion, let alone to join in the debate after the motion was passed. It took the at-large representative on the government side, Honorable Archibald Christian, to second the motion. And he also took the opportunity to launch the attack on Fraser right away. Let's have a listen.
The activity of the project during 2010 to 2011 to develop the western end of the harbor, again, the western portion west of the Valerie Thomas Community Center, presents particular issues that require disclosure. During the implementation period, the project activity was being controlled by the Minister, Honorable Julian Fraser. All of the funds applied in 2011 in the amount of $335,706.30 were focused on bulkheading the western end of the harbor, which included but was not limited to an area owned and leased by Mr. Earl Fraser of Hannah's Reclamation.
Now, according to the Auditor General's report, there was a general absence of information with regards to the project. However, the 3rd District Representative, Honorable Fraser, says that nothing is really wrong with the recording of the accounts in the ministry, that is the Ministry of Communications and Works, and he's suggesting that the information is there and the Auditor General didn't look well enough, and also suggested in the right places to get the information that they needed to conduct what he says would have been a more factual report. And he has given us his take on the matter by presenting to us this particular document, which involves his claims and counterclaims to the Auditor General's report. Let's hear him in this clip.
Vouchers has all the information that is needed, Madam Speaker, about a project for the purposes intended here. It's on the voucher, and the Auditor General get the voucher copies of the voucher. So it seems to me, Madam Speaker, that there's a huge deficit of experience in that office. What we should be doing, Madam Speaker, is to properly fund the office so it can be properly staffed. Because, you know, we cannot afford, I mean, I'm talking because it's me right now, but it could be anybody. We cannot afford for reports like this coming out of the office like that the public gravitates to as if it's gospel.
Now, does that sound familiar, except in this case, it's on a different foot?
Well, Sean, it's a couple of things that's interesting to me with what's happening here. The issue of information really is not a substantive issue. I don't see it as a substantive issue. When the report says that that act, tell me, I can't remember the name of the act that he violated.
I can't recall it exactly, but you're saying that
there were several requirements for the project that were not followed. Those are the important things here.
Submitting information to the planning authorities and so forth.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He violated the Planning Act. I can't remember the exact name for it. He spent money. He spent monies for which services were not rendered, and and that money did not come back. That money is still gone.
Right, because there were 7 petty contracts, and only 2 of those contractors completed their works, and there was a 10% down payment for all of the 7 contractors. So basically, there's money out there.
He didn't get planning approval.
Yes.
For the projects that was done. So I mean, those are the real issues here. Whether there was information that was supposed to be in the office, in the files, whether they were shredded or they just vanished, or they were never done in the first place. Those are other issues. But the violations that the report spoke to definitively, those are what the real issues are. And my question, Sean, is what legal action can be taken, what criminal investigation need to be initiated in order for whatever illegality the report has clearly defined be redressed? Well,
my question would be, would there have to be a forensic audit? I know PricewaterhouseCoopers conducted an audit of the Treasury practices here just recently, and they presented a number of shocking findings. And again, that's why you see the issue of record keeping is tied in here. But keeping along that train of thought that you raised, in terms of the relevance of carrying out any sort of investigation with an intention of proving whether or not someone is culpable, is probably going to require a forensic audit if you're not going to start with a commission of inquiry first in any case, because you know how government is. It's so difficult really to point fingers at any particular legislator. You may recall too that in the report the Auditor General said that the permanent secretary at the time refused to cooperate. And there again you may ask yourself, how can you get that person to come and present his or her information to help make this case a stronger case?
Well, you would have, the obvious way would be subpoena and have the person testify under oath. So, I'm wondering what kind of immediate criminal investigation needs to take place regarding illegalities in the project, not violation of laws, misconduct, misappropriation of funds, of
But
public
I
funds.
heard
Those are serious.
Allegations, yeah?
Yeah, those are serious allegations.
Yes,
If the
yes.
governor wants to talk about serious allegations, he needs to take a look at those.
But
So
and-
how is that process? And I was wondering whether this report should just be dropped right on the public prosecutor's desk instead of having whether it has to go through the governor for a commission inquiry and then go through there, or just go to the public prosecutor for a criminal investigation. Because certainly it appears to me, based on the definitive statements made by the Auditor General, that there may be criminal misconduct.
Well, again, let's look at what happened with the report titled the Port Development Project Special Report, tabled in the House of Assembly on July 22nd. Then we were looking at the Cruise Pier Project, and the opposition was up in arms over what transpired during that particular project. Some of the processes they figured were not in accordance with with good governance. And in this case, we are seeing a similar trend. Now, the question has to be asked, is it that the Auditor General is again incorrect or misinformed? Because back then, the Communications and Works Minister, Honorable Mark Van Der Poel, suggested that, yes, he accepted some of the issues, suggestions raised, but he thought that in some cases, she was misinformed. And we even had the Deputy Financial Secretary, Wendell Gaskin, suggesting that the Auditor General was, to paraphrase, unqualified. In fact, I think he did use the word unqualified and suggested that she lacked the experience to really conduct audits properly. Here we are again seeing the former Communications and Works Minister, Honorable Julian Fraser, suggesting that the Auditor General or the office lacks that level of experience and know-how to conduct audits properly.
But one of the differences between that report and this report that is glaring to me is one report, the Ports Authority, the Cruise Pier report spoke about possible conflicts of interest and possible corruption.
So there was nothing definitive.
Right, but yeah, so that was things that were not necessarily illegal, but could have been done a different way. When you talk about a no bid process, you did have a selective bidding process, which is an acceptable process. Perhaps a full-blown bidding process should have taken place, but there was nothing illegal about a selective bidding process. So there's those differences there. Here you have violation of the Planning Act, violation, no approval, deposits for money for work that has not been rendered. They're not given. Money is not recovered. Those are statements, definitive statements, which are totally different from possibly, potentially, maybe. So that's to me the significant difference between the two reports. But it's quite interesting.
Whether or not there will be, apart from the fact that you're citing good reasons that there should be legal implications, there are certainly political implications. And you heard the Minister of Education and Culture, Honorable Myron Walwing, saying in that very debate that the electorate should not embrace the new leader of the VIP, and he doesn't think that he is someone who should lead the country. So there's a political side there that will really have its own way.
That undertone will definitely raise its head. The political season is coming up, and there's going to be some questions that have to be answered, questions of honesty, integrity, of doing what's correct as opposed to what you want to do, and procedures that needs to be followed. And that's definitely going to raise its head in the 2015 political campaign. So
that sums it up. Fraser having to fight alone basically to defend his credibility.
And that was an interesting thing. I was wondering why the leader of the opposition, who's a member of the party,
and the former Minister of Finance,
Minister of Finance, did not at least second the motion. That would seem to be that would seem to be the natural order of things, not a member of government seconding the motion brought to the House by the opposition, but the opposition member who is the leader of the opposition. and really should have seconded the motion.
Of course,
And,
the vociferous Forest District Representative Honorable Andrew Foy had already signaled his plans to boycott the 9th sitting because he was still up in arms about the way the 8th sitting was adjourned.
well,
So
that
we know he was not going to be there.
that creates, and we're going to have to end this conversation now. But that creates another question, Sean, that if your colleague is facing a firing squad and you choose to be absent at that time for some other reason that really does not compare to the seriousness of what is about to happen, that raises questions in my mind of solidarity and cohesiveness in a group situation such as this. But it's going to be a lot of interesting discussions over the next several months, I suppose, about all these things that's happening in the country. Certainly, we have a lot to look forward to. Thank you very much for that interesting report. Yes, indeed. We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors, and we're going to come back with Jan Bryn. We're going to be talking about bridging the gap between reading and technology right after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands and CCT Global Communications.
Life is like a mountain you must climb. Life is like a treasure you must find. A baby learning how to talk. With just one step begins to walk. One step at a time will lead you to paradise. Your dreams are there to find. One step to paradise.
Did you do this? Are you doing this? You will be fined or jailed. You're hurting our community. You're hurting our economy. We must take a stand. Act now and report illegal dumpers to the Department of Waste Management at 468-4934. Stop illegal dumping in our country.
It's not even about being bigger. David and Goliath taught us that it's about being better than you were yesterday. At CCT, we're committed to building on better music downloads, better videos, better online gaming, better internet so your kids can get their homework done at better hours, better customer support when you need it the most. A better everything makes a better BVI so that you could work better and live better. You see, at CCT, we're not only a local company, we're a better company with the real 4G network. Visit your CCT flagship store today and experience CCT Life Unlimited.
I'm here to find out about my husband's social security. Okay. You hear about that bad accident?
Yes.
This my husband get mashed up.
He went to Puerto Rico?
Yeah. It was a serious accident, you know. But I won't get some of that security money.
Miss, your husband's contributions are not up to date.
What? What do you mean by that?
Remember, you must secure your tomorrow today. Check on your contribution status right away.
Poetry, slam, share the stage with Deaf Poetry Jams, Black Ice. Poetry competition, great prizes to be won. Think you have what it takes? Mellow Moods Cafe is the place. 7:30 is the time, bring 2 rhymes, even if you don't compete, it's open mic, so bring a piece. More info about the show, call 542-4507 or check out Poetry Slam BVI on Facebook.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Edjuenka, and we are going to go right to our next segment. Jan Bryn is here from CCT. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Yes. You're welcome. It's my pleasure, considering the importance of what you're doing and what CCT is doing in formal partnership with BVI Reading Council, which of course is a great organization that's been around for many years, trying to improve the literacy in the Virgin Islands. Now, we boast a high literacy rate, but we get from the business community that although our young people are able to recognize words, there's a problem with understanding. Comprehension, reading comprehension, there's a challenge, understanding what you have read. And we want to bridge that gap. Now, how is CCT find itself, a telecommunications company, find itself in the middle of that situation? It's a good situation, but how did you get there?
Well, first let me just recognize Teacher Lyndon Smith, who is basically the face of the BVI Reading Council, if you will. She's a very well-respected teacher. She's retired now, but very much still involved in making sure that our youth in our territory continue to be exposed to learning opportunities, reading being perhaps the most important, because if you cannot read or you do not have basic reading and writing skills, you cannot really make it too far in life. And recognizing that, her work through the BVI Reading Council, where they're doing things such as, visiting the hospital or delivering books for new moms to encourage moms to be reading to babies, or even encouraging moms who haven't given birth yet, babies still in womb. That's still important. I did that when, I was pregnant with my son. Reading to that unborn baby is very important. So from that to just modern day technology where we are now, CCT as a technology company, recognizing the importance that we have to do our part to make sure that our young people and our adults are reading, and so with all that said and done, we wanted to make sure that, as I said before, that we are doing our part as a technology company. So we partnered with the Reading Council to make sure that we're doing just that. So we introduced this new campaign that we're calling a BVI of Readers, and we're trying to make it fun. It's light, no heavy selling, really, just spreading a positive message of reading. So when you pick up your, CCT, we're a company that's selling you smartphones, your iPads for data usage and stuff like that. We wanted to make sure that we're encouraging people to use technology responsibly as well. It's not just about fun and games or just simply being on social media, practicing sometimes bad writing or typing.
Yes,
we type in shorthand instead of proper sentences. Making sure that we're using technology to further our education and help enhance our reading skills, because technology does have the ability to do that for us.
And now, of course, we could have books on our iPads, on our iPhones.
Oh, yes.
And I guess CCT would help to facilitate that through the online, the internet, the services that you provide.
Yes. One of the services we provide is the selling of data to enable consumers to connect to the World Wide Web via their various smart devices. So when you're on your smartphone, you're on the go, when you're traveling, sitting on the airplane or wherever you are, sitting in the park, wherever you might be on the go with your smart device, and you're connecting to a data network, you can use that to catch up on your reading.
And you could have, and unlike the old days where if you want to have a choice of books, you would have to have a bunch of books in your bag or suitcase.
Yes.
Now you could have all your books on your iPad. And you have, I mean, I got a whole bunch of choices. I must got about over 50 or 60 choices on my iPad. So anytime I'm anywhere and I want to read, I could select what I want to read.
Yes.
And that's possible through my data connection with CCT.
Definitely. One of the coolest things too, speaking of, now that you reference the amount of books that you have, I mean, you might be familiar with the Kindle device, which gives you access to several actual novels, not just, short stories or, like simple fun reading, but actual novels where you could sit down and read, some of the most popular genres of books, whether it's fiction or, I don't know, I can't think of any other.
Fiction, nonfiction, novels, technology books,
everything.
How to do books, personal lifestyle enhancement books, that all those kind of things.
You have the option to download the Kindle app to your iPad or your
iPhone,
Nexus or whatever you're using. But the actual Kindle itself, I think, is cool because I like the way while you're reading, it allows you to look up the meaning of words.
Yes.
And that helps you with your comprehension
as well. That's the feature I like, yes.
You're reading things, you're reading words.
Just put your finger on the thing and you go to define and it tells you what the words mean.
So you could really understand what it is you're reading. So things like that makes technology cool.
And I find what's interesting to me with that, as you mentioned it, is that a lot of times I thought I knew what a word meant until I saw it in a totally different context.
Right.
And I wonder, how does that word fit in that context? Let me go check it and see this word that I thought I knew. Let me go see how that fits in that context.
Yeah.
And I just press tap on the screen and up pops the dictionary and and then I say, oh, that's one of the definitions for that word.
Yeah.
And so I learn a different word use.
Right.
Through reading.
Yeah. So just emphasizing the wonders of technology and how, that ability to have access to it, access to the internet, access to data, access to things now enables us to learn much better or at a faster rate.
And much more.
And much more, yeah.
How does the program work? So what activities CCT and the Reading Council plan in order to help develop a BVI of readers? What is that little plan you have going there?
Okay, well, one of the first things we did was participate in, the Reading Council had a literacy conference late August 29th up at the college. So that has already passed. And we were just there in support of that very important conference that was meant for teachers and parents to talk about various tools and resources and what have you as it relates to literacy. And we were there to reach out to our teachers, gather information from them, and let them be aware of what CCT continues to offer. You might be aware that CCT in the past and still currently offers special rates to teachers, which we see as a means to extend our gratitude to them for what they do in being able to, be prepared for the classroom and, teaching our kids. So we want to make sure they always have access. So we were there talking with them, a great bunch of education professionals, letting us know what they need now and, how they've been, those of them who are current customers, letting us know how it's working out for them. It was a very important exchange for us because CCT is committed to that initiative to support the teachers, and we want to look at ways on how we could continue to improve what we provide them to enable them to do what they do even better. So that was one thing. Currently, we just had a book drive in the store, and a number of people were so kind to donate books in our book drive. And through that small initiative within itself, we're looking to supply these books to a school in need. I know we have several schools, particularly the schools on the outer islands, that might have a need for books for the classroom, like for in-class library. So we want to make sure that we're assisting with those type of issues or needs, if you will. Another thing we're doing is what I call a friendly reading challenge. It would have started on September 8th. I was actually supposed to be on here with you earlier, but it's still good. I mean, even if you don't participate in the promotion itself, I still want to spread the word and encourage, people to do it anyway, because it's actually meant to be an opportunity for us or even in our family time, if you will, to spend time reading with your kids, reading to each other. My grandparents, they just came to mind. My grandmother sits at home and sometimes reads to my grandfather, and that's such a special time as husband and wife, in a family setting. Me as a mom, my son is almost 17, but if we could sit down and read, like how I used to read to him when he was younger, or encourage him even at his current age to read to his, younger cousins. My nephews, Nick and Mateo at home, they love to read too, and encouraging them, to the older brother to read to his younger brother. All of those type of exchanges are very important to us as family units to help further our education, in that time, and not just in the classroom.
But I know for me, reading has just been awesome in terms of my education. I learned a tremendous amount out of school.
Okay, yeah.
I went to school, I did a trade, and I did that, and I knew, and I worked at that trade. But information, spiritual development, human development, understanding, knowledge, just reading was really, really, really the key for me. Doing my own research, buying my own books. It's like going to school outside of the classroom. That's how I termed it. So it's like, in a way, I feel like I've taught myself a tremendous amount through reading.
Yes, definitely.
And I mean, I can't stress enough the importance of reading. I don't care what television you got. I don't care what electronic gadgets you have. Whether you read on your iPad, and now I'm a little technology savvy, a little, but it's nothing like that, like really getting into a book and getting that information that you want, and feeling yourself develop, over time into a person that of value to yourself,
right?
A person who have grown to know and love themselves through reading. It's an awesome experience,
right?
It's something that we really should get.
So what the friendly challenge was,
I went
into so many different things.
You need to get to the challenge.
The friendly challenge was to encourage, parents, caregivers, and children to,
but you said was, but it's still going on.
Yeah, it's still going on.
Okay.
So you read.
So there's opportunity to participate.
Yeah, I was saying read a book a day. It doesn't necessarily need to be a full book. Books come in different sizes. It could be a short story. It could be, as I was telling you the other day, like a scripture. Read something. Your daily intake of knowledge.
Yes.
So we were encouraging people to do that, and basically write to us 500 to 800 word essay, basically describing your experience, what you read. You could, if you read several books or whatever it is you read, tell us about it, what it was like to spend time with your family members reading, or if it's with yourself.
Yeah, even by yourself.
What you learned. So a friendly challenge, and as an incentive, we're giving $100 vouchers and goodie bags for that. So it wasn't.
And it begun at September 8th.
September 8th,
and
it's running through the 19th, and the essays are due on the 29th.
Okay, and you can submit your essay by email.
You could email us at bbiread@cctbvi.com. You could visit us online as well at cctbvi.com to find out more information if you didn't get that email, or if you didn't get all of what I said, just visit us online to find out more about that.
So, and you still have the book drive. You can still bring in your books.
You can still bring in the books.
You still could bring in books to donate to the school libraries.
Yes. We're in the process of packing up what we've collected so far to organize a day that we could make some formal donations to the schools.
To the schools, yeah. Okay, so we've only turning the clock, but I want to go over the challenge again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a CCT BVI Reading Council challenge where you read something every day, and at the end of that, September the 19th, it goes on until
you have to submit the essay by the 29th.
By the 29th.
Yes.
But you read something every day till the 29th.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and it doesn't have to be a whole book.
No.
But it could be a short story.
A short story.
But something every day.
Scripture.
Yes, something every day until September 29th, when you have to hand in an essay, email an essay, or bring it in on hard copy.
Yes.
To the CCT store.
Yes.
And then you're gonna determine a winner.
Right. We're selecting the 4 best essays.
You're selecting the 4 best essays.
Yeah.
And you're gonna give out a $100 gift certificate with a goodie bag.
Yes.
Okay.
Simple, easy, friendly. The most important thing is that you spend time reading.
Okay, that's
right.
Cool. Well,
but aside from the reading challenge, I can't forget to talk about. We also want to encourage people to join the BVI Reading Council. The BVI Reading Council is a nonprofit organization, and by joining them, you enable them to, further on their mission in our community.
Yes.
From doing things to supporting new moms with books for their babies. They award young people in the schools for their advancements in reading or improving their reading skills in school and things of that nature.
And also the dad's
program. They have so many different programs. Yeah. The Spelling Bee, which if you've attended that, it's really great. So they do a number of things.
And they need help. They need volunteers.
They need
all these things. Yeah, all these things that they have to put on takes a lot of effort and physical labor.
Right. Being a member also awards you the benefit of discounted books, supplies for teachers to help them in the classroom. So it's a positive thing, a win-win all around, because we want to, at the end of the day, make sure that we have a very, very smart population of BVI landers. Knowledge is power, and it can only be achieved by reading.
Yes, a literate population.
So as an incentive too, when you join the Reading Council, $20 for adults, $5 for students, and if you do that with a sign up on our data plan, CCT would give you a month free of data with your plan. Okay. There we're bridging the gap.
So you go to the Reading Council and you sign up.
Actually, you can do it all through CCT.
Okay, so you could be a member of the Reading Council.
Yes.
Through CCT, and at the same time you get a discount on your plan.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for stopping by.
So yes, again, stop by our store. Visit us online at cctbvi.com to find out more. You can also check us out on Facebook. The BVI Reading Council also has a Facebook page for more information as well. And of course, CCT Life Unlimited encourages all of you to be a BVI of readers.
Yes, indeed. We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. We're going to come back with Dr. Samuel and Miss Ivy George. We're going to be talking about prevention of non-communicable diseases, the observance of Caribbean Wellness Day, and the lifestyle we need to change too in order for us to have a good quality of life. Keep it locked right here at the Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited and H. Lavity Stout Community College.
Serving the community for over 25 years, Tortola Concrete Limited is the leading producer of concrete products in the BVI with grades of 3,000 to 5,000 PSI. Tortola Concrete ready-mix quality unmatched in the industry, and we can mix to your specifications. Our aggregates are clean through our unique washing process for our smooth, clean mix. And our special chilling process makes our concrete crack resistant. Tortola Concrete Limited is the concrete company for all your quality concrete products. Gravel, road base, face stone, boulders, armor rock, coarse sand, terrace, and the cleanest, strongest, crack resistant, ready mix concrete. Tortola Concrete batch plant serve you Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. until the last load. Our knowledgeable, effective staff gives you free estimate and delivers on time to any location. Contact Tortola Concrete at 494-3259, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Conveniently located in Parkwood Pond near the BVI electricity plant. At Tortola Concrete Limited, the strength is in the mix.
Choosing a college education is one of the most important decisions that you will ever make.
A college degree or certification opens doors to greater opportunities that will improve the quality of life for you and your family. The greater the investment made in education, the greater the returns.
I am Charlita Millington, Regulator of Investments and Securities Business, and a proud graduate of the H. Lavity Stout Community College.
A leader in higher education which aids in the improvement of life, a vibrant economy, and nation building. Any educational institution is best judged by its graduates. And the H. Lavity Stout Community College is committed to the development of the human resources of these Virgin Islands and the region.
Now, because of HLSCC, I am making a difference.
Remember, at HLSCC, your tomorrow begins today.
All the makings of a major disaster. Torrential rain and winds of more than 300 kilometers per hour.
Disasters can happen at any time.
Are you financially prepared to deal with the repercussions?
Don't allow disaster to creep up on you without being financially prepared.
Put aside a few dollars each month for a rainy day. Everyone should have an emergency fund.
Careful, don't use your rainy day fund for shopping sprees.
Keep it, just in case of emergencies.
Consistent savings of any amount adds up. Start saving today.
This message is brought to you by
the Financial Education Network,
the Department of Disaster Management,
the Department of Information and Public Relations,
and Money Matters BVI, seeking to create a more financially literate BVI.
Poetry, slam, share the stage with Def Poetry Jams, Black Ice. Poetry competition, great prizes to be won. Think you have what it takes? Mellow Moods Cafe is the place. 7:30 is the time, bring 2 rhymes, even if you don't compete. It's open mic, so bring a piece. More info about the show, call 542-4507 or check out Poetry Slam BVI on Facebook.
It's not even about being bigger. David and Goliath taught us that it's about being better than you were yesterday. At CCT, we're committed to building on better. Better music downloads, better videos, better online gaming, better internet so your kids can get their homework done at better hours. Better customer support when you need it the most. A better everything makes a better BVI so that you could work better and live better. You see, at CCT, we're not only a local company, we're a better company with the real 4G network. Visit your CCT flagship store today and experience CCT Life Unlimited.
I'm here to find out about my husband's social security. You hear about that bad accident?
Yes.
This my husband get mashed up.
He went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. It was a serious accident, you know. But I don't get some of that security money.
Miss, your husband's contributions are not up to date.
What? What do you mean by that?
Remember, you must secure your tomorrow today. Check on your contribution status right away.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with my ready to go guest, Dr. June Samuel, Chief Medical Staff, People Hospital. What's up?
Nothing, I'm good. Good night. It's good to be here with you.
I can feel the energy.
Yes.
A lot of energy coming off. And Sister Ivy, Coordinator of Health Promotions, the Ministry of Health and Social Development. It's good to see you. Thank you. Yes. The mild-mannered, hard-working Miss Ivy George. You know. Let me see, the 13th was September the 13th, we observed Caribbean Wellness Day. Yes. Yeah. We had I thought the theme and the slogan this year was quite interesting.
Well, this year we are focusing on the workforce and workers. In the past, we've done children, we've done infants, I think. And this year, we are dealing with, for the whole year actually, we'll be focused on workers and improving the workplace and anything that will help improve the health of workers. So that's what we'll be dealing with a range of activity, policy, improving the environment, building skill, etc.
Why the workplace? Why you're focusing on the workplace?
Well, what CARICOM decided the first couple of years, we were leading up to the big meeting for the UN, and so we did a lot of promotional type activity. And in 2012, CARICOM took the decision that we are going to focus on chronic diseases across the life cycle, across the life force. So, and like as I mentioned, beginning from infancy all the way. So next year we will then be moving on to the seniors.
Okay. One of the things I came across from the
steps,
the Caribbean Wellness Day, the overarching committee, not CAFA.
It was CAFA.
It was CAFA
that yes coordinated.
Coordinated, right? Is that the fact that the feeling of the workplace being where most of the adults spend their waking hours.
Yes, and so WHO have said that we are looking at promoting health in places where people live, learn, play, and work. And so they have decided that the workplace is a good place not only to promote workers' health, but they also feel that you'll have good spill over in the communities to family.
Okay. Now you had a couple of events that have taken place. You had your walk run on Friday.
Yes, that's a workforce walk run which we started last year with the first year, and we want to continue that activity.
How long is this going to be? This is going to be an annual event?
We are hoping that it will become an annual event for the workforce, because normally on the Saturday the community usually have their activities. We didn't have any activity this year from the community, but it has been established that the community will normally have activities on the Saturday, which will be the 13th, and on the 12th will be sort of the day when workplaces will do their activities.
Okay. And you launched the Healthy Workplace Subcommittee.
Well, that should have been launched on the 18th. However, we had some difficulties, and so we have had to put that off until the person who's in charge of that committee was out sick, so we weren't able to make the necessary arrangement. But we will have that up and running as soon as it's possible.
Now, there's a memorandum of understanding that's been signed, being signed.
It has been signed, yes.
Between the Ministry of Health and Social Development and the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs and Sports. Yes?
Yes. Well, that is one of the activities. We have 7 committees where as we said, we are working to improve health across the life cycle. So we are taking each group of people and we are looking for the particular department or ministry that has a health focus for that particular group. We are partnering with them, helping to strengthen what they are doing and lending support in order to improve that particular target group of population.
And this memorandum of understanding is focusing on primarily children.
On school,
on healthy
schools and school-age children and people who are working in the school. And this is very important in the fact that I've been working with the Ministry of Education over a long period of time. We have done a lot of good work, but sometimes it's only on the goodwill of both parties. And health is too important an issue to leave it up to chance. And so what we have done in the Memorandum of Understanding is to set out clearly the boundaries, who is going to be responsible for what. For a very long time, sometimes you would say you're trying to do something in health, and someone would say, that's the ministry, and we would put it toward education, and someone would say that's health. But health really don't have mandate per se over education institution in the BVI. And so in the memorandum, we have clearly set out that the Ministry of Education is responsible for the school-age child, what that should look like. We should have a national framework following a particular model, and who should be doing what. There are other partners that will be working with education, but education must lead, and others fit in, not the other way around.
So what this means for school children, I know the most mind-boggling thing to me is that we stop the children from going out to get lunches from the environment, from outside the school campus. And we brought the same junk onto the school campus. How is this memorandum of understanding going to address that particular issue?
Well, one of the issues that is addressed in the memorandum is the whole issue of food and nutrition in school. And now I want to say another thing. Now, this is not going to happen overnight, but we will lay out a plan of action as to how things can happen. So that's one of the things that is high on the priority. It's one of the things that has been laid out by CARICOM. We have a number of a number of strategies that came out of the declaration, and every year we have to report how far along we are with these things. So that is one of the areas that is in that declaration and that we are working on.
So we're going to bring healthy meals in school and make
well, there will be
healthier choices available.
There will be recommendation as to what healthier choices should be, and we will, there are certain things that should happen. But I also want to say to parents too that I think sometimes parents are a little bit too passive. I think that if you think that something is important, that we all have to work together. All of us have to do our part. And so if we all would declare, what it is in terms of the food, we have already established that food, especially fruits and vegetables, are protective factors when it comes to good health. And so it is very important. And so that parents can have a say and should have a say in what is being offered to their children.
But you realize the parents themselves don't know.
I'm saying we are all going to be working at it together. That's what we are hoping.
Okay. So there's going to be a whole education process as well that goes along with this memorandum of understanding, and this is going to be a major community event. Otherwise,
yes.
You're going to get the parents to buy in.
Actually, in November, we are supposed to have an activity where we are going to have a nutrition from Care for Hair, and one of the activities that she's supposed to do is we're going to be talking about the importance of nutrition in the development of children, and we are also, with the Ministry of Education, working on a program that should be rolling out next year in the primary school that will deal with nutrition, food and nutrition in schools.
Coming up next on the observation, the Caribbean Wellness Observation, is cardiovascular and diabetes prevention public lecture, as well as a symposium.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, of course, in your area, Dr. Samuel, the Health Services Authority. Tell us about the lecture that's coming up.
So if I can give a little bit of background, essentially at the Health Services Authority, our mandate, really, we are on the delivery of services end. And because we're on that end, we see all of the end results of the chronic non-communicable diseases.
Of the bad lifestyle.
Of the bad lifestyle, of the poor eating, and everything else that we're doing. Lack of exercise. Everybody, I hope that everybody by now knows about the STEP survey, because that's a significant piece of research that was done in the BVI. And one of the things that the STEP survey showed is that 69% of persons during that survey had elevated blood pressure, but were not on medications.
69%.
69% of persons. I don't know if Ivy remembers that, but I got all the figures right here.
That's more than 2/3.
Right. Okay. And then there were a number of persons in the survey who had never had their sugars checked, and persons who had family history of high cholesterol and diabetes. Now, why am I saying this? Because all of these risk factors, we know, are risk factors which will eventually point us in the direction of individuals developing cardiovascular disease or diabetes. Okay.
Okay. Say what cardiovascular disease.
Heart
means.
disease.
Heart disease. Make it simple.
Right. Heart disease and diabetes. There are a couple of other facts. Fact is now that in the medical community, we now believe that diabetes is, for the large part, a disease that affects primarily our blood supplies, our blood vessels, okay? And so if we have diabetes and then we have heart disease, we have high blood pressure, then the risk factors are all compounded, okay? I attended a conference at Baptist in February, and
Baptist
Health in Florida, right? Okay. And the focus of that conference was on cardiovascular disease prevention, and a number of things were highlighted at that conference, which I felt we need to have heard in the BVI because of the level of illnesses that we have associated with heart disease and diabetes.
And those things were?
First of all, in over the last 10 years, the research has shown that despite all of the advances in modern medicine that we've made, our cardiovascular disease rates have gone up. So we haven't made an impact on the number of persons who are developing heart disease over time. And so there's now a shift in the thinking in terms of how we need to address these chronic diseases. And essentially, it is back to basics. We need to focus in and zero in on prevention. So where we've gone full circle.
The medical profession is really funny.
Isn't it?
This is just,
and I knew you would find that
this
funny.
Is a riot.
Okay?
Really funny.
And you know, I found the conference, for me it was stimulating. I have a family history of heart disease, so this is very personal to me. I lost my mom to heart disease. And I know that we've lost in the BVI a number of persons at a young age, because 50, 55 and 56 is young. Okay, and if you die prematurely due to heart disease, women are high risk. You know, we're losing individuals in the BVI at a young age to heart disease.
The last figure I heard was 53% of the deaths in the BVI are from non-communicable heart disease.
And they're heart disease related. They are number one cause of admission to People's Hospital in illnesses is related to high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. Okay, and you know that we have, I think, some 48 persons on dialysis, and the majority of those persons ended up on dialysis because of diabetes and hypertension. So we have a significant problem in the BVI, and the problem is expensive. That's the simple way to put it. It is expensive. It costs money over time, okay, in terms of days lost from work, time lost from work, persons unable to work. People who have diabetes know that you don't feel well all the time. It affects you physically, emotionally, and every way, okay? So
it's about $500,000 a month?
Probably more than that. Okay, I think today we were trying to pull up some figures to see exactly, try to tease out exactly how much we're spending on our chronic non-communicable disease. So I'm convinced, Ivy's convinced, the minister is convinced that the way to deal with this is we have to become aggressive in prevention. And that includes even individuals who already have the disease. There's some things that we're not doing so well that we need to get better at to prevent the progression of the disease. So what we've done as a part of this month is we've organized these two activities where we've partnered with Baptist Health International, and we're having 3 speakers come in from Baptist who are they're in the forefront of their field in terms of heart disease and diabetes, and we're going to have a public lecture. And I'm very excited about that. And we're really inviting, you know, everybody to come and hear. I mean, you can get all of your questions answered. These are individuals who are involved in research. They will be able to give you, you know, all of the statistics, all of the information. And the public lecture is going to be in the new People's Hospital lobby.
Yes, and you get a chance to come in there and see that beautiful
structure. So you get a
right?
chance to come in and see the...
And this is what date?
It is Friday, the 26th of September, and it's at 6:30 in the evening.
Okay. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more about the lecture, and we're going to talk about the symposium for the healthcare providers as well. Keep it locked right here to Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited and H. Labadee Stout Community College.
Educational institutions are often best judged by the quality of their graduates. At the Hamilton Labadee Stout Community College, the educational experience offered enhances the lives of graduates and through them, organizations and communities as well. I believe HLSCC graduates represent the rich tapestry of skills, attitudes, and personalities needed for any community to thrive.
I am Zebulon McLean, Chief Fire Officer of the Virgin Islands Fire and Rescue Service, and a proud alumnus of HLSCC,
where I obtained a Certificate of Achievement in Disaster Management and 2 associate degrees in Business Administration and Finance before furthering my studies abroad. I also serve as an adjunct lecturer at HLSCC and enjoy participating in the college's 2-mile race series. I fully support the efforts of HLSCC to deliver tertiary education to the Virgin Islands and the region. And now, because of HLSCC, I am making a difference.
Remember, at HLSCC, your tomorrow begins today.
It's not even about being bigger. David and Goliath taught us that it's about being better than you were yesterday. At CCT, we're committed to building on better. Better music downloads, better videos, better online gaming, better internet so your kids can get their homework done at better hours, better customer support when you need it the most. A better everything makes a better BVI so that you could work better and live better. You see, at CCT, we're not only a local company, we're a better company with the real 4G network. Visit your CCT flagship store today and experience CCT Life Unlimited.
Serving the community for over 25 years, Tortola Concrete Limited is the leading producer of concrete products in the BVI with grades of 3,000 to 5,000 PSI. Tortola Concrete ready-mix quality unmatched in the industry, and we can mix to your specifications. Our aggregates are clean through our unique washing process for our smooth, clean mix. And our special chilling process makes our concrete crack resistant. Tortola Concrete Limited is the concrete company for all your quality concrete products. Gravel, road base, face stone, boulders, armor rock, cold sand, terrace, and the cleanest, strongest, crack-resistant, ready-mix concrete. Tortola Concrete batch plant serve you Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. until the last load. Our knowledgeable, effective staff gives you free estimate and delivers on time to any location. Contact Tortola Concrete at 494-3259, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Conveniently located in Parkwood Pond near the BVI electricity plant. At Tortola Concrete Limited, the strength is in the mix.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm having a conversation with Dr. June Samuel, Chief Medical Officer of People's Hospital, and Ivy Josh, Coordinator, Health Promotion Services in the Ministry of Health and Social Development. We're talking about Caribbean Wellness Day and all the observations and activities surrounding that day, which of course is going into a whole month of activities. And we left off talking about the heart diseases and diabetes and how to prevent them, and the symposium that's coming up. And tell us when that symposium is going to be again.
So the public lecture is on Friday, September the 26th at the New People's Hospital lobby, and that's open to the public. It's free of cost. If you have diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, or you know anybody who has, or you have it in your family, you have to be at this lecture. And on Saturday the 27th, we're having a symposium from 7:30 in the morning until 1 p.m. And this essentially is targeting healthcare practitioners, healthcare professionals, so doctors, nurses, pharmacists. There's a registration fee of $35, and we're giving out continuing medical education or continuing education credits. to the practitioners who attend.
And what the practitioners need to know that this symposium is going to bring to them?
Well, it is going to bring to you lots of information around the latest research that's out there with regards to approaches to cardiovascular disease prevention and diabetes prevention. I think last year in November there were some new treatment guidelines that were released in the U.S. And some of the treatment guidelines are controversial because they shed some light on some previous ways that we're approaching treating hypertension, for example, and what's considered to be a normal blood pressure. So, for example, if you go to your physician and your physician tells you that you have a blood pressure of 120/80, and they say to you, well, that's a normal blood pressure and you're fine, that's not true, 100%. It depends on your risk factors. It depends on your history. It depends on whether or not you currently have high blood pressure. It depends on whether or not you currently have heart disease or kidney disease, because the parameters for control of blood pressure are different in all of those situations. So what has come more and more to the forefront is that what's most important is that each individual should have a risk assessment done. So you should be assessed for your level of risk of developing these diseases over time, and that's based on your family history and some current parameters, your weight, your weight and height, which will give you your BMI, your current lifestyle, your cholesterol levels, those kinds of parameters.
So more information is being gathered.
So there'll be, yes. So over time, with all of the research that has been done and looking at how we've done so far in terms of treatment of heart disease and high blood pressure, guidelines get revised all the time. Medicine practice changes every minute. Okay, it doesn't stay stagnant. And so these three speakers really are individuals who are at the forefront. They're published, they've done research, and some of them work in the cardiovascular institutes at Baptist. And so they'll be bringing a lot of the latest information that we need to have here in the BVI, because we're seeing, these, and we're having the problems here.
Yeah. Well, 47, almost half of the population, according to the STEP survey, have a chronic disease. So I mean, it's a major issue, and it is threatening to bankrupt the country, actually.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And while it is not, BVI is not the only country that's it's an epidemic worldwide. I saw a headline the other day where I think somewhere, it's probably in the Caribbean, where they're looking to galvanize that we declare war on obesity. We've heard about the various initiatives in the U.S. to address issues related to obesity and the number of calories we are taking in. So it's an epidemic worldwide, but we only have 30,000 people here, or 30,000 plus, and we have limited resources. Human resources is our greatest asset, and if half of all human resources sick, then we have a problem.
You have a problem.
We have a major problem.
Now, the other thing though with the treatment, are you going to? Is it going the symposium and the lecture is going to be emphasizing lifestyle change?
It will be emphasizing life, because the prevention is about lifestyle. So the prevention is about, one, knowing the risk level of the particular patient, and then coming up with a treatment plan that helps them to keep their risk down. And the plan always, we're back to basics, really. Yeah. It's about your diet, it's about exercise.
One of the things I tried to have implemented in the Health Service Authority when I was a member of the board was that the doctors should give a prescription for nutrition and exercise along with the medication. That the medication on its own would not function enough to bring the level of the illness under control.
Right, and that is true.
And I couldn't get it to go anywhere.
Well, I wouldn't say that you couldn't get it to go.
I couldn't get it to go anywhere.
Not that you didn't get it to go anywhere.
That study, that report and that action plan is somewhere in the Health Service Authority shelf.
Well, good news is we're rolling it out, because one of the things as a part of some of the initiatives that Ivy has been working on, we are about to roll out the chronic care model approach to the treatment of these conditions. And as a part of that chronic care model, there is the whole treatment plan, which includes lifestyle interventions. It includes working with the patients on issues around diet and around exercise. Because it's very easy to say to a patient, you need to exercise 3 times a week, okay? Very often that doesn't go anywhere. Patients need a little bit more hand-holding. They need a little bit more coaching, okay? Exercising 3 times a week is not necessarily what every patient needs, because exercise has to be prescribed based on that particular patient, okay? You may have to do gradual increase in exercise depending on what your underlying physical status is. So more coaching, more case management, working more closely with the patients to institute the overall a comprehensive plan.
And well, you have a strategic plan. The ministry is developed a strategic plan for just that.
Right.
Ivy, perhaps you could enlighten us a little bit about how that strategic plan is going to work in conjunction with what Dr. Samuel is saying.
Well, the strategic plan is mostly about prevention, and so we knew that, and we made a special effort to now incorporate the treatment, care, and support part of the program. So we had our first consultant earlier this year, and in November we will have our second consultation, and we are going to be rolling out a 3-year action plan. Coming out of that last report, we are supposed to put in place a multidisciplinary team that would be working on these particular problems together, and then we will also have a sub-advisory committee on healthcare, which will include private sector, public sector, and the people who are also doing in the NGOs. So what we will have is sort of a coordinated, right now we have a lot of silo working, and so we are trying to merge and integrate what is happening in the area of treatment and care as well, so as to we'll have an overall program, and someone from the Health Service Authority also sit on the coordinating committee, which is the interdepartmental technical working group. So at a meeting, you will hear you'll hear what is happening in the school, you'll hear what is happening in the workplace, you'll hear what is happening in the health services, you'll hear what is happening in terms of transportation and health, in terms of healthy spaces, food and nutrition, alcohol and tobacco, and physical activity.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Samuel just said there's going to be a need for a lot of hand-holding. What's going to happen on the ground? How are we going to get people that the doctors are going to begin to prescribe exercise for and nutrition for? How we are going to get those people to be able to choose the right foods, prepare them properly? Because I mean, everywhere I go, well, I shouldn't say everywhere, but most restaurants I go to, they serve me vegetables. The vegetables are basically valueless. They are overcooked, and all the nutrition is gone. And so when we're talking about persons who for generations have been preparing foods a certain way, eating certain foods that are high in fat, high in salt, high in sugar, overcooked, no nutritional value, how are we going to get on the ground those persons to make those choices in the correct way so that it does have an impact on their quality of life and the maintenance of wellness.
As I mentioned before, Mr. Smith, we are putting in place a multidisciplinary team. And on that team, there'll be someone who will be dealing with exercise. There will be a public health nutritionist there. There'll be the pharmacy. You have the nurses. You have the doctors. And you also have lay people who will be also helping in terms of self-management. So it's a whole new way of looking and managing the situation. We don't have all of those people. Some of them are already there. Not all of them will be full-time,
Right.
but those that are full-time, we are very much trying to get those positions filled. But by having this team in place, it wouldn't just be maybe just for the doctor alone. So you'll have a team approach, and I'm saying in addition to that, they will also be advised, be supported by this advisory committee.
I mean, I think what essentially what we're looking at is a whole paradigm shift in terms of how we approach, because no longer can we continue to treat chronic non-communicable diseases in the way we did before, which is you go to your doctor looks at you, gives you a prescription, and you leave, and then we're hoping you're taking your meds and we're not sure what else you're doing. That has not worked. I mean, worldwide, we know it hasn't worked. So a lot of what has to be done is, even in terms of the healthcare practitioners on the ground, we have to work with them and train them into adopting the whole multidisciplinary team case management approach. For example, even with nurses, there are certain things that we're going to be expecting the nurses to do to work more closely with the patients, to help the patients to be able to, one, as Ivy likes to say, self-manage, but we have to give them the information so that they can self-manage. We can't expect patients to manage themselves, or that they're empowered if they don't have the information. So, for example, do you know that if you're a diabetic or hypertensive, that you should check that if you're diabetic, you should have your HbA1c done every 3 to 6 months? Do we know that? Do you know that you should have your eyes checked once a year? And if you know, are you doing it, and who's following up with you to make sure you do it? So having supports because sometimes the patients, it's very difficult to have a chronic disease and manage all of these things. So they need support. We're looking at things like support groups for patients. We're looking at various kinds of tools that patients can actually have in their hands that they can refer to. Peer support, you're talking to somebody else that has worked well, for example, in cancer treatment centers, where you have support groups. You talk to somebody who has a similar condition, and there's a lot of support in that. So in chronic non-communicable disease, we're looking at that same sort of approach. But it really is, there's a lot of training that has to happen. So some of that is we're looking at doing. We are now in the process of looking again at the guidelines, because the guidelines now have to be reviewed based on what some of the new research has shown. We're looking at how our services are organized, right? So that the patients can actually be seen by different members of the team, and we have to determine how that happens. So it's not about necessarily just the doctor writing a prescription, okay? But it is about these other members of the team participating in the care and the patient at the center.
Well, it seems like
a whole shift.
It seems like the whole community is being mobilized to deal with this particular issue.
We have to be.
Yes.
We have an epidemic. It's like chikungunya. We have an epidemic. We need the community to be actively involved.
Oh,
this will bankrupt us.
For sure.
Okay, good.
And now that you mentioned chikungunya, we're under the tyranny of the clock. But just as a brief shift, we have to get rid of the mosquitoes. There's no question about it. What's been happening from where you sit regarding the vector-borne diseases, dengue and chikungunya particularly?
Well, we know that recently, since the rains, we've seen a new upsurge in the numbers. We know over the last 2 weekends in the emergency room, we've been overwhelmed with individuals presenting with symptoms suggestive of either chikungunya or dengue. Right now, we've partnered with environmental health, and we know that environmental health is out and about doing more education with the community, trying to make persons more aware of some of the things that they need to do to take care of themselves and to protect themselves from being bitten by mosquitoes. We're also doing more education with the healthcare providers. So, for example, tomorrow evening, we have a continuing education meeting at the hospital for healthcare providers, members of the community as well, where we're making sure that the knowledge and information that they have about chikungunya is kept current. Dr. Trotman attended a training in Guadalupe, I think it was, and she basically has been the point physician who we've identified as the person who needs to keep updated and pass that information along to the practitioners so that no matter where patients are seen, they get the current information. We're also going to be doing some work with Red Cross CERT, the emergency response teams, because those teams are going to be helping in terms of actually getting into the community, going from door to door, giving persons information and helping them, do the things around the area, their homes that they need to do, because that's really where the fight is within the community.
Right. And certainly there's a education campaign on the radio,
right.
going on about clean up around your environment.
Yes, so we've
getting rid of your water catchment, your open water containers,
and so we've declared war on the mosquitoes.
Well, mosquitoes have become public enemy number one.
So we need to take it seriously, because although death from chikungunya is rare, it is a condition that can leave you having chronic pain for up to 2 to 3 years. It's also associated with depression. And if you're pregnant and you get chikungunya, there are implications in terms of, the stage of pregnancy and the effects that can have on the fetus. So, we don't die, but we have not such a good quality of life.
Yeah.
So we need to be, and dengue, well, we know about dengue. I hope we know about dengue.
So we need to go around searching in the street, searching for
yes,
mosquitoes,
right.
looking in every nook and cranny, and
get obsessive about it.
Get killed. Yes, look at you just mentioning.
You see a mosquito, and you see either dengue or chikungunya written on that mosquito, and you kill it. That's right.
That's it sounds funny, but
it's something we have to. And the public, a lot of times, persons will sit and say, "Oh, the ministry isn't doing, or Health Services Authority isn't doing," but really, with these conditions, it's about the public taking personal responsibility because we can't come and clean up your yard. That's your responsibility, right?
Well, we found it at 8 o'clock. But it certainly was good to have you both and sharing such valuable information with us. We want to say before we go that the Cardiovascular and Diabetes Prevention Public Lecture is coming up
Friday, September the 26th, 6:30 p.m., the New People's Hospital lobby. Fantastic environment, excellent speakers coming from Baptist Health International.
Is there going to be any food?
Yes. There will be refreshments served, because we realize some persons may be coming straight from work. And then on Saturday the 27th,
and the refreshment is going to be healthy choices.
Healthy choices prepared by our in-house team at the BVI Health Services Authority.
And you got about 6 trained chefs in there.
We've got trained chefs in there, and we cook according to specifications. So they've been given the specifications. The diabetics and hypertensives come in. We want healthy snacks.
Because I know I've chided the ministry about having receptions and refreshments with all these fatty foods
and so on and so forth. Yes.
And then of course,
and then on Saturday the 27th is the Baptist Health is the symposium for healthcare practitioners. And if you're a member of the public and you want to come, I don't think we would refuse you.
Yes.
And we will be serving breakfast, continental breakfast, and continuing education credits will be awarded. The Medical and Dental Council has approved the symposium for credits.
And this is at Maria's?
This is Maria's by the Sea in their conference room.
And this is from
it starts at 7:30. Registration is at 7:30.
In the morning?
And in the morning, we're starting at 8 o'clock sharp.
Okay, cool.
I just want to give you one quick fact.
Go ahead.
I love this fact here. So there's some new research that shows that our daily allowance for sugar is now down to 6 teaspoons per day for women and 9 teaspoons per day for men. So to put it in context, 1 can of sugar of soda, if you drink sodas, okay, has 9 teaspoons of sugar.
1 soda has 9.
1 soda has 9 teaspoons of sugar.
And that is sweet.
And that is sweet.
That is
okay? And the research has shown that your odds of dying from heart disease is increased with the percentage of sugar in your diet. It is actually now the #1 link to heart disease. So it's not fat anymore. It is sugar. Okay, it's now increased regardless of your age, your sex, your level of physical activity, or your BMI. Now think about our cultural foods that we eat regularly.
Don't mess with my tat.
Go. I knew you would say that.
We're going to follow.
There you go. So sugar is killing us.
Yes.
And all of that we're going to be talking about at the symposium and at the public lecture.
Okay. You have anything you want to add?
Well, I just want
Judge?
to say that I know we have been talking about this for a long time. We have now put the framework in place and most of the committees are ready to go. So you will be hearing quite a bit coming from nutrition, from healthcare, from the schools, from the workplace. So we want to thank you for your patience, and we want to continue to ask for your support as we really look towards a healthier Virgin Islands. We can do it.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Dr. Samuel and Miss Ivy George for being my guest. And of course, I also want to thank Janet Brin from CCT in conjunction with the BVI Reading Council for being here tonight as well. Spotlight is seen live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. here on JTV Channel 55 and rebroadcast on Sundays at 2:30 p.m. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks for your criticism, words of encouragement, and suggestions. And we want you to like our Spotlight Facebook page and watch the discussions you missed, find out about upcoming guests and topics, or suggest a topic you'd like to have discussed. I'm Edjuenka reminding you that when the spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands and CCT Global Communications.